you know, some people on the other side there will say, well, what's the point of the union? Well, the point of the union is the point of any union, is to make it possible to enjoy the benefits which come from working together. And these benefits can be economic, they can be social, they can be cultural, and they can be political benefits. And economically, of course, the point of the union is to share and pool our resources, to help our closest neighbours and family members when they are in need, and they can help us when we are in need. You know, we don't mind, as unionists, we don't mind sharing Scotland's wealth with our closest family members. We know that Scotland is big enough, and Scotland is rich enough, and Scotland is clever enough to help our family when our family in the rest of these islands is in need. So we're all about giving. We're not about getting. And sometimes we know that we will give more than we get back. And sometimes we get back less than we give. But that's the nature of living in a union. It's obvious, especially during this COVID situation, that Scotland has benefited from being part of a larger economic monetary union. Almost £10 billion have come to Scotland from the British Treasury during this COVID catastrophe that's been going on. £10 billion. Truly, the union is the best insurance policy that's out there. And so the people who call for separation can only do this. They can only call for separation by completely ignoring the reality of the economic benefits. An economic reality that proves that in times of crisis, we are stronger together. In times of crisis, the union is the created. And yeah, it's important to emphasize these economic benefits, but of course it's not all about economic benefits. But it is definitely important to emphasize it, because if the people at the other side of the square got their way, then we would be living in mega levels of austerity, which would be occurring in a separated Scotland. So I spoke earlier about the union creating a new nation, an additional nation on top of Scotland and England, a new nation called Great Britain, that allowed us all, wherever we may live, to claim those other parts of these islands as our own also. And that's a really valuable social and cultural fact, that we can go, for example, over to Northern Ireland, or people from Wales can come up here, and they can know that they're living in their own country as well. They can know that Glasgow is as much a Welshman's inheritance as Belfast is a Scotswoman's inheritance, as Glastonbury belongs to the Scots as much as Glasgow for the English. And that's only able within the idea, the political idea of Great Britain. When you separate the countries out, then all you get is squabbling and quarrelling. So that's a very valuable social and cultural thing. And cultural achievement comes from that social connection as well. And it gave us another identity. It gave us a dual identity. We could be, as some of the Scottish parliamentarians at the time in 1707 stated out loud, Scottish and British. A dual identity, and it's through that identity that we can fit in. We can fit in with the rest of everybody wherever we go. If we go to some part of England, we can say we're British, and together we've got a common bond. If people come up here and they say they're British, together we've got a common bond. So the dual identity is a really valuable element, and don't think that would last under a separated Scotland, because already the Scottish nationalists are trying to get rid of the British identity. You know how much they hate the Union Jack. You know how much Nicola Sturgeon has been taking it down by law from all of the Scottish administration buildings. She doesn't want the Union Jack to fly on the buildings that she has power over. And that's why we're still in the Union. Can you imagine the state if we got separated? My goodness me, we'd probably all be arrested just for flying it. And many of us know that that's not an impossibility. So a separated Scotland would make it harder to have a British identity, and ultimately it would remove that choice. And you know, politically, many Scottish nationalists say that they love the EU more than they love the United Kingdom. Well, the United Kingdom is something that the European Union aspires to be. So how can you love the EU more than you love the UK when the UK is actually a functioning example of what the European Union would like to be like? For example, I'm going to quote an excerpt here from an article which appeared in a magazine written by a journalist called Alex Carew, and he describes so well that what we have politically in the United Kingdom, and which has been built up over the centuries, is what the European Union would in fact love to be itself. Because consider what we enjoy politically. What are the essential ingredients for a successful sovereign multinational union? They are all the things that we have here in the UK and which the EU wishes it had. For example, an effective single currency, covering a highly successful integrated economic area. That's what we have here in the country. Tax raising and sharing powers throughout the United Kingdom. That's what we have here in this country. Redistribution of wealth. That's what we have in this country, the United Kingdom. A comprehensive single market, internal market in goods and services. That's what we have in the United Kingdom. A risk-free sovereign debt market, a banking union, a united foreign security and defence policy. All the things that we already enjoy here in the United Kingdom. And also, of course, our deep cultural and family ties, our shared values, our unlimited free movement of people between north and south. At least we had that before COVID shut it down. That's something that we need to be looking at to make sure that that remains. And of course, representative institutions with real power and legitimacy, a shared head of state and similar legal traditions, and a shared language. All of these things we have in the United Kingdom. So how ridiculous for the SNP to actually want to join the European Union, which doesn't have any of those things. The UK provides all of these things for Scotland, ready-made for Scotland, but still the SNP and the Greens want to break away from the UK. They want to break away from these things, and they want to join a failing trading bloc from the 1970s, which doesn't have any of those things. And you know, if Scotland were already separate, would want to rejoin the UK for all the political benefits that I've just mentioned to you. And you know, that doesn't mean that we're not going to criticise the British government when criticism is due, but very often criticism is due of the British government, and we shouldn't let them get away with that. But that's the case with any political system. What it comes down to, folks, is this. Ultimately, the union is a recognition that the people of the United Kingdom have more in common than what divides us. And so our political institutions should reflect that fact. That's how we see things. But the people on the other side of the square trying to drown us out at the moment, the people on the other side of the square, they believe that what divides us is greater than what we have in common. Well, we don't go along with that. What we have in common is far greater than what divides us. So to sum up, what we want to be doing, folks, is looking forward to a grand new age, a new age of grand achievement, as we go forward, let us understand our United Kingdom as one big country, not just four separate and squabbling ones. One big country in which we are privileged to enjoy a shared identity, enabling us to be both Scottish and British, and to enjoy as our own all of the political and economic and social and cultural benefits which come from that intimate connection. Let us understand the United Kingdom as having come together through time to the point today where we are literally a nation of families, much more than a family of separate nations. Above all, the United Kingdom is our home, all of it, from east to west, from north to south. And we do not want to see our home destroyed. We know that since this day, 314 years ago, on the 1st of May 1707, the Scots have been at the centre of Britain's achievements on the world stage. And it's where we should be, and it's where we must remain. Our place is at the centre, leading, or if you prefer, disproportionately contributing to the success of the United Kingdom. That's the positive place to be, helping Britain to a new level of grand accomplishment on the world stage, a new level of great achievement. For the Union presents to us, as it has always presented to us, a great opportunity. And the Union, is an idea, and like all ideas, it is constantly being tested. It is for those of us who believe in it to keep it alive in our mind and in our hearts and in our physical reality. And that's what we at A Force for Good try to do. That's what today is all about. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of A Force for Good will stay the course for the Union we so love. Thank you to everyone who has come out today. It just remains for me to say, God bless the United Kingdom and God save the Queen.